Hello and welcome back to another episode of how to not only survive but thrive through these challenging times. And I just had to bring back Brittany Churchill, our best-selling author of Tap In, Tap Out, and welcome Brittany to survive, not just survive but thrive.
Hey, Kate.
What up? This is awesome.
I'm so happy to be here again. This is so fun.
It's super cool. So Britt and I, we're both single moms, and it's Friday afternoon, and this is usually the wrecking ball of motherhood. These afternoons where we've had hard weeks, that we've been, cooking the meals. I got chicken soup on the stove. I had to take a little late start to this interview just to finish my soup stock. So, Brittany, how is your week? How are you doing? What's going on?
Oh, man. So this week we started homeschooling. And I don't know if you remember, but this is my closet office. So I do work full time from my apartment in my closet office. And now I'm homeschooling my kids. So we are in the thick of adjusting to this new way of life and trying to find our rhythm. And it's messy, but it's an evolution, and we're working with it. So it's been good. Some highs and some lows as we adjust.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And, we talked a little bit in the last time we were together about how really this is like a time where everything is ground zero, right? And how this is a great time to embrace your hot mess. I mean, it just legit is. I mean, if you looked around like my house, it's not all that pretty, right? And also embracing and being more transparent about the challenges. Like number one, being a single mom, and my kids are older, but I went through that, and I had to be financially on my own and be able to make a lot of choices on my own. And I remember like that, like it was just yesterday. My youngest is now 18, and I know you have two little ones.
Yeah.
So how are you managing the baby stage?
Yeah. Well, right now my kids are 5 and 7, almost 6 and 8. And thank God, I will say they both can read. Like for the most part, my 5-year-old can read, which helps with homeschooling. But I guess just real talk, kind of reeling it back in, I would say it's just realizing for me, just having the epiphany for me that I am in the messy middle allows me to have grace for myself. I have a lot of pride. I always have had a lot of pride, and I don't like people feeling sorry for me, and I don't like people seeing me as weak. So actually admitting that, oh my gosh, this is hard. It's a big step for me. And it's not like I want people's pity, but it's just, I need to acknowledge that what I'm doing is actually hard. Because if I don't, then I just bottle up this feeling of like, oh, I gotta like prove myself and show I'm strong. And that's just too much negativity when I already am overwhelmed with so many other things going on. So that's been really, really good for me mentally, just to be like, okay, this is actually really hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard.
Reminds me, Brittany, when we first met live because we're both in self-publishing school, that we met live, and you had made a comment to me, and that was basically, I am really good at filtering people out. Because you were like, when I'm overwhelmed, like my boundaries are up, like I am like this, like, so are you noticing that different or changing? Because I've really seen, like, certainly in our conversation, an evolving sense. And what is that about, and how do you see that now?
Are you saying regarding just like time, like who I choose to spend time with?
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
And also just like, I think it's my sense of what you just said was that you're realizing that your transparency, it's like basically like, screw it. Like people are going to see the mess in the middle. And like, 100%. What's the purpose of being Wonder Woman right now?
Exactly. Right? Exactly. Yeah. You know what? And I honestly, I don't think I could physically, emotionally, mentally live up to that standard of, I've got it all together. Yeah. And I don't think people do it either. Like nobody relates to that. It's almost off-putting. And so I think taking down the mask or the veil and just being honest and real has been such a huge step for me personally, and letting go of more of this stuff that I'm holding on to. Whether that is my pride or just, I'm really like, the inner critic is really, really awful, and just like letting go of that has been really, really helpful. I've had a number of people who've read my book just been like, man, girl, you're really hard on yourself.
No kidding. Wow. Yeah.
I open up and like, it's my thoughts and like how I process.
Yeah. Well, it's like funny because it's like you're growing up in a generation where it's like these Instagram, like I think this clearly has to shift, but you know, what the perfect mother looks like and the perfect children, and everyone has beautiful filters and all their kids are wonderful. And I have that same experience in my generation. My kid's going to this school, my kid's going to that school. They got this job. And I'm like, like I honestly, and it brings up emotion in me. And I'm like, wow, dag, what is that? And this brings up that point that, you know I shared this article that I just published today about how to find peace during this time. And really the biggest thing for me, where I've been most unnerved, and listen, there is a level of anxiety through all of us, all of us on this planet. Mother Earth is weeping, right? We are in a transformational time. And for me checking in on people and people saying, hey, I'm good, I'm great. And I'm like going, what? Like, I'm good too, but like, not really. You know what I mean? Like, I'm confused by it. And I think that, you know, you and I talked about this, and I really want to get into this a little bit more about how grieving, the process of grief requires a certain level of transformation in order to heal it. And if we're not honest with our emotions, if we don't feel those emotions and where they reside in our body, we're screwed. Because this isn't a time for post-traumatic stress. It's a time for post-traumatic transformation. And that process begins now. Again, we're at ground zero.
Yeah. I think there's so much power in acknowledging your emotions, your feelings. Like I said, emotions are emotion, like they're moving. So they've got a place that they got to go somewhere.
Right.
And if you're holding them in, if you're afraid or sad or angry or you're dealing with grief, and you're bottling it up, like all you're doing is creating just more negative energy, and that stuff needs a place to go. So acknowledging it and seeing, okay, I feel this way. And there are incredible mindful practices, meditations, guided meditations that can help you release these emotions, acknowledge them, and get them out.
And there's different modalities for that. I mean, there are hundreds of, and I think that's why I was so drawn to personal training and fitness training, because it was like, literally, you could see people's dysfunction in their body, and I could put my hand right on where their pain was. They didn't know what I was doing. It was like, I can see the dysfunction in the body. And I'm like, so what happened to that right shoulder? Oh, nothing. I'm like, okay, so let's keep talking. And, you know, meet week 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. When I was little, I friggin', I was abused, or I was, my mom grabbed me, or, these emotions get lodged in the body. And they make manifestation into dysfunction, not only physical dysfunction, but emotional dysfunction.
Oh my gosh, they do. And it blows my mind how interconnected everything is. Your body, your soul, your mind, your spirit. And it's actually beautiful. I love it. It's like, holy cow, there's so much we don't know. And are just figuring out just how to, or just learning to accept as like this is actually true. Like your body does store,
normal, right? I want to really touch on something that you brought up, because I think it's super important, because I think that we're both Leos. I mean, I'm an astrology girl. I love astrology, but Leo girls are prideful girls. Like, we're like, we can manage the children. We're like women lovers. We love each other, right? But we're like proud. Picture the lion, right? We're proud. And so
proud.
Right. And so what is it? It's a big deal, right? And it's part of the reason why people are drawn to us, because of our sunshiny disposition. And people may look at us and think we're not relatable. So I love this conversation, because this is all a bunch of crap, because we are in need of connection right now, just like the rest of the people. And it's the reason why I'm like, Brittany, let's get on the phone. I don't care what we talk about, because we have similar heart space. And we're here to touch other people. And if that means I got to do this in my underwear, you better believe I'm going to do it in my underwear. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I
don't think we'll get to that point,
but you know what I'm saying? It's like that level of vulnerability. Like, let me show you my pain and suffering, and so that we can understand and know the truth of who we are, and heal and grow from there.
Yeah. I'll be vulnerable. I mean, the truth is, I I have my kids full time and I don't have any help. And we just got issued Austin, Texas, or a lot of the cities in Texas got issued shelter in place for the next 3 weeks, if all goes well. Like if it all goes well. And so I've already been hunkered down for at least a week and a half. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't get a break. I don't get a break. I can't just ask a babysitter to come over and watch my kids so I can go. I mean, I can't even go anywhere. Everything's shut down.
Right.
And so that feeling became very overwhelming to me and almost suffocating, because I'm like, I need self-care. Like, how do I get this? And you know what I have been doing is just, I've been making mindful shifts. Like, I make sure I get to bed at a certain time so I can get up early, and I start with meditation in the morning. I do. And I just set my day off right. And I just make sure I get certain things done. I make sure I prep the night before on my homeschooling stuff that I just, even though it's still a mess, it's a mess. And it's in between meetings and emails and paperwork that I have to do because I'm working full time. And it's not perfect, but I'm trying to make like mindful decisions to keep my sanity. But I'm be vulnerable. It's overwhelming, and it's disheartening. It's, you just lack you don't have the connection with people that you want to have. And there's grief. There's grief in that. I mean, I know you know very much like about grief and could probably touch on that, but that's just how I feel, is just going through this process of grieving the next few months of my life.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. And being honest about what we're losing and what needs to die away. Yeah. Because I think that ultimately, if we can face that, I remember, like this whole thing about relatability. I remember one time I had a coach, and, it was like after, like legit, this is true story. I was a personal trainer. I owned a gym, and I had a client, and this was like 2008, the last time we had a crash. And I was like, I got to sell this gym. It's too much work, because I was like, oh, I'm so drained, right? So dramatic. But I did have 3 young kids, and my husband was switching from job to job, and it was very, very stressful. My marriage was in a very, my marriage was falling apart. Okay. Yeah. And so what I did was that there was a woman that was started a gold business. So as a stay-at-home mom, 3 young kids, I built a $1 million company as a stay-at-home mom. And I was flipping grilled cheese with one hand, buying and selling on the other. And was I driven by, I want to help the world? No, I was driven by necessity, by anxiety, by negative self-worth, right? So success is not always birthed through this, this wondrous experience. But I'm telling you, this is the time to start those processes of embracing our positive self-worth. Yes. And let me say, building that business helped me grow myself, where I was the classic ADHDer, right? I always felt like I never fit in, and again, I remember coach saying to me, Kate, like you're awesome and everything, but you're like completely not relatable. And I was like, what? I mean, I was so horrified. I'm like, oh my God, like I've gone through so much. But, if you have a sunny disposition, people are like, oh, I could never be her, and I'm like, oh, wow, that was really devastating. And it shifted my conscious and awareness about how much I needed to be transparent and how important that was, and how much important it was that I let other people in to take care of me, Brittany, right? So that would be like the older mama saying it to the younger mama, let people care for you. There are women and men out there that want to hold you and support you, and you don't have to be righteous in your independence, right? That I'm here. If you were here, I'd be rocking you, baby girl. I'd be helping you. I'd be, doing the things with the kids, but we're going to create a sisterhood and a tribe based on taking care of each other, opening up our hearts and being there for each other.
I love that. I love that, because it is hard. It's hard as a Leo to admit that, hey, I need help. I could use your help, because we want to see that we want to put off this image that we have it all together. But I guess to some regards, I think we want to put off that image, but it is a tough thing to just let go of that pride and just open up and say, you know what, I'm actually really struggling. Right. And this sisterhood that you're talking about, I mean, it could be a beautiful thing. It really could. And to your point about your success being driven by what would have been maybe considered negative feelings or weak feelings, like this sense of necessity or like you have to get this done. I am going to have a mom moment right now, actually.
Share.
Do you want me to share? Do you want me to be vulnerable right now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, she ran off. She saw that she saw that I was on a call.
No!
Did you see her at the door?
No, I just heard, I saw a little rustling.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, there's something going on behind that door. So
okay. We'll soon.
yeah.
Yeah. Report back in episode number 3.
Right. I will. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah. So go on now about that. So like the whole thing about having it be hard and like how we're manifesting things now in this moment, even if it's hard.
Right. So to that point, just even with like going through a divorce this last year, I was a stay-at-home mom for let me just see here. I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years. Mm-hmm. And I had to make a shift. I had to figure out how I'm going to provide and move on with my life. And that was terrifying. And I think there are a lot of moms out there who are stay-at-home moms who that idea freaks them out. The idea of going back into the workforce. But there was this sense of necessity and a sense of like, I have to do this and I have to make a better life. And so we moved. My doctor said I went through 2 of the 3 top most traumatic things you can go through. And that was like a big move, a divorce. And then, the last one is like the passing of a loved one. But I did those things because I knew what I had to do to create a better life for my family or my kids and myself. Yeah. And it drives you to do big things. I packed up the car by myself. I moved, I coordinated everything and got a place down here in Austin, Texas. I nailed my first interview and I got that job. Like I knew what I had to do. And those negative feelings, they can either make you crumble or they can drive you to success. And I think it's amazing what you did. Like that's an inspiration.
Well, it was like sitting in my car. I realized, I remember exactly the feeling is like, holy shit, my prince ain't coming. Mm-hmm. My prince is not coming. This isn't going to be okay if I let this ship continue to sail the way that it is. I emotionally am not in a safe place. My children are emotionally not in a safe place. I'm financially screwed, literally. Like bankruptcy, like that was all banging down the pike. And I knew that I had to take the step by myself as a mom. Yeah. I was a theater major. I didn't have any business background. Like, let's get I was the token poor kid at my college, and I got a full scholarship being a token poor kid. So I didn't have the tools. I had chaos of my childhood. And so understand that. And I think that's really what I want the listeners and the viewers to hear is that out of chaos can birth the most amazing creativity. Yeah. And playing it real. Right. And bringing your sisterhood or bringing your brotherhood around you and understanding that this is your time to lean into your greatness. And it's not going to necessarily feel all good. It's not all, rainbows and unicorns. It isn't. Yeah. It isn't.
It's not. It's not.
No,
it's not
but living in integrity is.
Yeah.
And
100%.
Ice cream with Major Jimmy.
I think I've got
You've got a child?
Bracklin.
Come over and say hi.
You can say hi and then you gotta go because I'm in the middle of a talk. Okay, you can tell me afterwards, babe. Okay, you guys shut the door. Thank you, loves. Bye. Okay, shut the door.
Real time.
Real time, guys.
No, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Oh my gosh.
Just want to be respectful of your time because I know you got babies calling. Yes. So what would you like the listeners to know, Brittany, today? And we're going to share this as soon as possible that people can be tagged in. The listeners, viewers, it's every different age and persuasion. But what do you want people to know that are finding this time to be particularly hard and challenging? Especially, let's just say, single moms, single people.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
Don't. What I would just say, and this is just kind of where I'm at this week, right? So I guess what I would just leave you with is just acknowledge how you feel. Don't ignore your feelings. We're all in this together, and give yourself what you need to work through those feelings. Because honestly, if you can practice that, if you can do that, and it doesn't matter how big or small, like it could be just a minor thing, a minor twinge of like I don't know, just frustration or sadness or fear. If you can work through those things, what will happen weeks from now is the most beautiful thing in your mind, in your heart, and in your personhood, and you will become stronger for it. So acknowledging your emotions and handling them, letting them have an outlet, is actually going to make you stronger in the end. It's not shoving these emotions away and thinking I can just put my big girl panties on and just get through this, and that's actually not going to make you stronger. So that's what I would leave you with.
Yeah, it's true. That's awesome. So just face it, feel the fear, and keep moving and acknowledge it. I wrote, I talk about this oftentimes with my coaching clients, that if there is a feeling, or that you're, address it. And I'll be like, man, I am anxious right now. And I'll like burst out laughing, because I like name it, say it out loud. It's not like, oh my God, my stomach hurts. And like, I'll be literally talking to myself. Oh, I'm stressed. My GI tract goes bananas, right? So be aware of where stress locks in. Yeah. And breathe into it. And when you name it, just like shame, just like guilt, when you name the emotion, it loses its grip.
It sure does. And you're 100% right. Like how it will manifest itself physically.
Yes.
You could even like have a coughing fit or a sneezing fit, just like this way of like letting it out and releasing it. Just, name it. Focus on maybe where it's at. If it's in your GI tract, focus on that area and just like start releasing it and calling it out. And crying is great. Crying is so good.
Yeah.
Like there's different forms of crying, and it's such a good way to release that energy. And it's okay. It's okay. This is okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. Oh gosh.
What would we do without this platform, honestly? Because again, I'm not a super extrovert as much as people would think I am. And Britt, I don't think you necessarily are either.
Yeah. No, I definitely need my alone self-care time. I definitely, I'm an empath. So it's like, I feel a lot of energy from people. So you could suck it out of me or you can give it to me. So,
yeah, right. No, that's awesome. So I hope viewers, this was valuable to you. Brittany and I are going to be checking in way more, because we have a lot to cover. We have a lot to share. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either one of us. Brittany Churchill has written the best-selling book, Tap In,
Not Out. I know, I was confused earlier too.
And also, I'm a sister in the best-selling category with my book, Claim Your Inner Badass. And both of those available on Amazon. So thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back soon. Take good care. Blessings to all, and breathe. Ciao.